Hello everyone and welcome to another video series. So this intro is very kind of slapdash because I don't have a script, I am holding the camera and it's not on a tripod, and it's nearly midnight, so I'm going to try and be a little bit quiet. But yeah, I'm going to try and do a new series where every month I try and get footage of whatever motorsport thing I'm doing, whether I'm at an event, taking part in an event, or crashing at an event, as you'll see in a bit. And this video will be for the month of February. And a lot happened in February, because it's currently a couple of days into March. Well, I say a couple, it's about the 6th of March. No, 5th of March. I don't know what day it is. Yes, so the first event that I'm going to talk about is a drift day at a place called Stand Lake Arena. Now, this arena, we took the white Mazda MX-5 to a drift day to do some drifting. And if you don't know about the Mazda and drifting, it has quite a short wheelbase, and that makes for some interesting drifting. It means that I had to use momentum a lot when drifting, which meant I kept on catching up to the other cars, like the BMWs and stuff, that could just like slide around the corner using all the power they had. Meanwhile, I had to like take the inside line and kind of do that, because you know, that was literally my second time drifting in real life, so it was a bit sketch, and as you'll see, it was very sketch towards the end. There's also a little bit at the end of this video about an Autosolo I did, which was quite fun as well. I went to Deptford for it, and it was very narrow. I've been told by a lot of people, because that was my first Autosolo, I've been told by a lot of people it's not actually a very good kind of taste into Autosolo because it is very narrow, it's very tight. A lot of the corners are kind of not like, it doesn't flow very well, so you get a lot of like tight corners. And the car that I was doing it in, my Mazda MX-5, the red one, has no power steering, so doing an Autosolo was very sort of like, it was very tough on the arms and on the hands as well. But without further ado, let's dive straight into Stand Lake Arena Drift Day in the white Mazda MX-5.
That was good. Whoa, keep it.
Right, so a couple things about the drifting. As I said, the Mazda has a very short wheelbase, so as you can see when I'm drifting around these bends on the Stand Lake Oval, it's very difficult to just keep the drift because the back end wants to go out, and the short wheelbase means you can't get much angle on it. Limited power as well. The white Mazda is a 1.6, so it only has about 115 horsepower from factory, and it's 31 years old, so it's probably lost a few of those over the years. It was fun actually. I went the entire day without having any problems, and I got very good towards the end. You know, the first couple runs I went out, obviously I was getting the hang of things, and what I found was when drifting the Mazda, it's very easy to lose the rear end if you just jam the throttle down and counter steer and expect it to go around the corner. You've got to be so light on the throttle and constantly be making adjustments on the wheel. You'll notice on the GoPro footage it's very shaky, and that is because the arena track surface is very bumpy and the Mazda is very low, so it doesn't make for the best combination ever. And actually you'll see when my brother went out, it shook a bolt directly out the bottom of the Mazda. What's weird is how loud it was. We didn't we didn't know at the time what was going on, because you know, it was just a bowl that was dragging along the floor, but it sent like the noise through the car, and we could hear it from where we were viewing, and it honestly sounded like we'd fucked the engine in some way, shape or form. You'll hear it now or in a bit or whatever. It didn't sound good.
Didn't put it in the wall. Always did.
Don't put it in the barrier.
Yeah. That's good, isn't it? Yeah.
There he goes.
Well, that's good. He's trying hard if you spin it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going shopping.
Come on, Ben. Ooh, nice. As you can see, bolt. Do you hear that knocking noise? Ben has broken the car. Could have just been something scraping off the bottom, maybe like a heat shield that might have come off.
Could be something hanging down actually. We've got the wheel.
Don't know. No, that sounds like it's coming from the car, doesn't it? I can't see anything hanging from the bottom of the car on camera. Oh no, I think there is something. There might be something hanging off the bottom of it.
The exhaust.
I doubt it'll be the exhaust. Well, that's fun. Whoa, not as fun as it's gonna be.
You brought the jack with, isn't it?
Yeah. Limping the car back to the pit.
Mil, can you remember?
I think it was a 17, but don't quote me on that. Hang on, let's see, can I see if I can get a shot of this?
We'll let find out. Can I actually fix the car?
Oh, I gotta film it.
I don't want to damage my coat.
I mean, technically I broke it. I probably should be the one fixing it.
You said, hold on, I'm not going out!
Oh. I think it probably will be.
What's your hand, Sam?
Yeah, be careful with the exhaust.
We fucked it, mate. It won't screw in.
Will it not?
No.
Is it just sheared? Is it an angle, Dad said?
It was.
Is it just not threading at all?
Well, it's in at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm just tightening it.
Okay.
It might be easier, Sam, to jack the car up and take it out.
Well, he's said it's tightening.
Is it?
No, it's not going tight. It's just spinning.
Okay, well, it's going to come out again if it's not really tight.
Nice you done.
Oh, it'll happen.
We're driving back round. I tried to get some from 17 on, but they didn't have the right size.
Oh, that's
Probably glowing red when you were going.
the car is so
Sounded like the engine was toast.
Yeah, I think we need a new bolt, possibly.
Got a hammer.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a look for the bolt on the bottom. Yeah, yeah.
Good idea.
You having fun, Sam?
How is that? How have you managed that?
Hey. Half of that was you last time.
No, it wasn't. Last time this was straight. Last time it was hanging up the car like that, not like that.
Yeah, but you weren't driving it around a track.
As you've seen, the drifting went incredibly well, and I got some amazing drifting done. I got quite skillful towards the end actually. We were actually told at the event at Sand Lake, when they do these drift days, they use pond water from down the road to wet the track, but the pond water has a lot of algae in it, so it's one of the slippiest tracks that they do these drift days at, which was quite interesting to discuss actually. And you could definitely feel it when they re-watered the track, how slidey it was out there. It definitely felt like you were driving on ice at some point. It was pretty sketchy. And what you're about to see is, towards the end of the day, they did re-water the track, but they were running it in the opposite direction, so I didn't have much practice going counterclockwise or drifting around a left-hand turn. So I made a slight error in what I was doing. I was doing so well up until this point. I was coming around one of the bends, and I managed to sort of link it on the straightaway to drifting like right, so left right sort of thing. And just as I was going back into the left corner, I carried too much speed in, and well, this happened. This moment, I knew I was going to run into the barrier, and the only words I could muster were barrier top. So as you can see, it was quite a big impact, probably going about 15 or 20 miles an hour, and that barrier is solid, like very solid. It was like going into a brick wall or a concrete wall or something. We literally, because my dad was in the car with me at the time, it went from like 20 to 0 like that. It was honestly insane. But what was lucky is the car felt alright to drive afterwards, so I thought, oh, it wasn't that big of a crash. I saw the bumper hanging off in the passenger side mirror, but I thought, oh, it can't be that bad. You know, the car's driving straight. I don't feel any problems with the wheel or the pedals or whatever. So I was like, oh, I'll just carry on drifting. It's fine. And you know, I went around a few corners, and my dad was like, stop. Just drive slowly for the rest of the laps that we have remaining. And this was like the last 10 minutes of the session as well, so it was really, really annoying that I crashed, because I went the entire day without it, and it was just stupid mistake, really, just stupid mistake. I will say now that we're not going to get rid of the car, because that's dumb. I made the mistake, and we are going to fix it. We're going to get it back on the road. We've already made progress into repairing the car. We are sourcing parts. We are cutting the back ends off of rusty Mazdas to get like components that a body shop can use to repair it. It will be back on the road and be back on the track as well. So the next month's video will talk a bit more about that and go into what we're doing to repair the car a little bit. I will add God. I will add that when I got out of the car at the end, I was like, it can't be that bad. I don't know why you were telling me to stop. And I just got around the car and was like, oh shit.
I'm sure it's fine. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, that's why I was waving at you, because I didn't want that to fall off.
Fuck me. We need a sledgehammer.
That's not going to help.
The back end was caved in, and the light fixture had just been smashed to a million pieces. The back panel was disintegrated. We lost the Roadster badge on the back of it, which is really annoying. It's probably still on the track actually, or it's been collected. And the bumper was just hanging on for dear life. What was interesting is on the white mats there's a bit of trim around the back. That stayed in one piece, surprisingly. I thought that would be disintegrated as well, but it was the only thing holding the bumper onto the car at the end when we were driving it back. Well, that and the zip ties that we brought with us, because you know you can never go anywhere without zip ties. It was quite interesting because we were talking to the guy in the body shop, and he said that there was a jack on the left side of the boot, and that was like stuck in there. And when they finally got it out, he saw that there was like marks where the jack was, and it was like, if that jack hadn't have been there, that entire left side could have just caved in completely. So that was the drift day at Stand Lake Arena. That was a fun day though, despite the incident. So after Stand Lake, there was a little bit of a lull for a bit while, you know, sorting out the white car and things like that. But I decided to join a few groups for motorsport, get my RS Clubman license, which is completely free. You can just sign up for it. You can upgrade your license later on as well if you need to. And I decided to take part in an Autosolo championship. It's the Cotswold Motor Group Autosolo Championship. It was like £5 to enter, and you go to places like Deptford, Kemble, whatever. Towards the end of the month, I went to the Deptford Autosolo. I talked about this at the start of the video. It was very, very narrow and tight. I made a few mistakes here or there and ran into a few cones, I will admit. Thankfully, it's an Autosolo, so the most damage you'll do is, you know, an orange smudge mark from a cone on your car or something. Deptford was very narrow, very tight, quite gravelly in some areas as well. Definitely a few moments of under and oversteer, which is quite surprising that I got understeer in the Mazda actually, because you'd expect it to get more oversteer than understeer, but it could have been the very loose gravelly surface and the sort of conditions of the really sharp angles that caused me to understeer a bit. I will say that there was this one moment where I was trying to go around a cone, and I don't know why, but I think I got understeer, and the car didn't quite go round in the direction I wanted it to. So I kind of hit the brakes because I was going past the cone, and my wheels just locked up, and even though I was turning, I just slid straight forwards, and I'm like, this is fun. Thankfully I wasn't going that fast or anything, so I managed to just whack it in reverse and continue around the track, but my times were off. I mean, my times in general were off the general pace. I mean, I was like second to last in class and like 23rd overall or something on the event. But for my first Autosolo, I didn't come last, and that's the main thing, right? My number was 23, and I came 23rd overall. It was a bit of a coincidence. I was like, hang on a minute, I recognise that number. That's the number I had to stick on the side of my car with magnets, which thankfully held on during the day actually. I wasn't too sure if they'd hold on, but they did. I actually had to steal them from my mum. They were like from the back of like post-it notes and pads that you'd stick on the fridge and stuff. I just like took them and just like stuck them on the side of my car with the number that had been printed off on a piece of paper, and they stuck, which is the important thing. But yeah, Deptford was very fun. First Autosolo, as I said, so I wasn't the best at it. You'll see that I had some moments. The GoPro footage, I'll admit, isn't the best. I couldn't get it quite high enough, and it's quite overexposed outside, but you can see what I had to do during the Autosolo. A lot of very quick movements, and as I said, it's very difficult with no power steering. It's a real workout. Trying to park in general is a workout with no power steering, and the car's light. I can't imagine what it was like with those heavy cars, like the old cars that were really heavy with no power steering. It must have been a real workout to drive. With all those tight, narrow corners, you sort of just had to let the car flow. You'd steer into a corner, and to like steer around another corner, you had to let the car sort of not fight against it. You had to sort of go with the flow a bit with the car, and you could sort of see how that works in the video, sort of like swaying from left to right. It's quite funny because you could actually see in the car as I go left and right, because my suspension's quite soft on the red Mazda, not so much on the white one. The white one's quite low and stiff, but on the red Mazda it's quite soft. So when I'm turning, you can see the car swaying from left to right and going down as I brake and up as I accelerate and things like that. You can really feel it in the car as well. Obviously as the driver, you're sort of braced for those movements in the car, but you can sort of see me swaying about all over the place as well. I ended up bracing myself quite a lot against like the footwell and stuff with my knees. And the same thing when I did the drift day as well. And I should tell you about this in the drift day. Basically, there's a keypad right sort of where your left knee is on the inside on the white car, and I think I brushed up against that as I was bracing myself during the drifting, but it seemed to have activated some sort of alarm, and that has never happened on the white car before. So the alarm went off when I went to go drifting again, go around the track, and it was like beeping and beeping, but like how do we shut it up? We eventually just opened up the bonnet and just took one of the fuses out of the of the alarm. So yeah, that worked. It shut it up and the car works. Very loud though, that alarm was incredibly loud. Like, you'd open up the bonnet and you could barely hear yourself think, let alone actually try and fix it. So we had to sort of disconnect the battery in order to get to the alarm, and then take the fuse out, reconnect the battery and see if it worked. But yeah, Defford, incredible Autosolo, very narrow as I said, but nevertheless incredibly fun. Coming up this month, in March, I've got something on the 12th, on Sunday, that is going to be Kemble, I believe. So we'll see how that goes. I think that's the only thing I really have this month in terms of motorsport, or next month technically for this video, because this video is about February. But in March, there's Kemble, and there's also going to be a lot of stuff about fixing the white car and how we're going to go about that. So stay tuned for that. That'll be released towards the end of March, maybe into next month, because I'm lazy and I'm always busy doing stuff. So yeah. Right, hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and as I said, tune in next month or whatever time it'll be for the March rundown. Anyway, bye bye. Why did I cover up the camera? I literally have a flip for that.